You've been lied to, not by the world, by yourself. Every morning, you wake up hoping for something to change, and every night you close your eyes knowing deep down nothing did. You scroll through success stories, motivational quotes, highlight reels of people doing what you wish you had the courage to try, and you say to yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But you said that yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. There's something in you, something real, something loud, screaming, clawing for your attention. But you've buried it under layers of comfort, of doubt, of distraction. You keep searching for the perfect plan, the perfect time, perfect version of you to begin. Let me save you the trouble. There is no perfect version. There is no right time. There is only this moment and the choice you make right now, because you don't lack talent. You lack belief, and belief is not a feeling. It's a discipline. You don't build belief by waiting. You build it by doing, by stepping into fear, by committing before you're ready, by showing up every damn day when nobody's watching. If you want your life to change, you have to change the story you're telling yourself. That story that says you're too late, too broken, too average, too tired. Burn it. Set fire to every excuse you've rehearsed. Because here's the truth, most people never hear until it's too late. Your life is being written whether you take the pen or not. So take it. Write something bold. Stop asking. Shh. If you're good enough, start asking, how committed am I willing to be? You think people succeed because they had more resources? Wrong. They succeeded because they had fewer excuses, because they were willing to suffer now for the life they saw in their mind. That's the secret. See it first, then build it with blood. Because what you visualize with clarity and feel with intensity, you start to move toward with force, but you have to get quiet first. You have to kill the noise, silence the world, silence the doubt, silence the voices of every failure in your past, whispering not again, yes again, yes now. You want confidence? Earn it. You want clarity? Create it. You want power? Own it. This isn't about motivation. This is about identity. Because the version of you that has what you want, they already exist, and they're waiting for you. Show up. So don't pray for easy. Pray for strength. Don't hope for signs. Become one. Your life doesn't respond to intentions. It responds to action. And every day you delay, you train your mind. To retreat, you reward hesitation and punish courage. That ends today because you're not weak. You're just undisciplined. But discipline can be trained. And once you train it, it will carry you through hell. So start, not tomorrow, not after one more YouTube video now. You keep waiting for motivation like it's some divine lightning strike. But that's the first lie. Motivation doesn't come before the action. It comes after. It's a byproduct of momentum. And momentum is built in the mud. In the early mornings, you don't want to wake up. In the workouts you don't want to do. In the silence you'd rather fill with noise. The people you admire, they don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. They've trained themselves to move forward when everything inside says retreat. Because they've learned that feelings are fleeting and purpose is permanent. You say you want clarity? Clarity doesn't arrive. It's created by taking action while you're still confused. By walking forward into the fog, one step, then another, and then, eventually the fog lifts not because it magically disappeared, but because you refused to stop. This is what separates the few from the many. The few act, the many prepare. Forever, preparation is a drug. A subtle one. It makes you feel like you're doing something without actually risking anything. You stay busy. You stay safe, but nothing changes. And deep down, you know it. That's why you're restless. That's why you're tired, not from doing too much, but from doing too little that matters. You were not made to scroll endlessly, to sleepwalk through your days, to build someone else's dream while yours dies in the background. You were made to build, to fail, to fight, to rise. But you can't do that without sacrifice. And you know exactly what that sacrifice looks like. You just haven't decided it's worth it yet. You're clinging to comfort. But comfort is the enemy of greatness. Every breakthrough begins with discomfort. Every evolution requires a death of the old identity, the weak habits, the easy way. And yes, it's painful. Yes, it's terrifying, but so is regret. So ask yourself, which pain are you choosing every day? The pain of growth or the pain of staying the same? Because one will burn for a moment, the other will burn for a lifetime. The truth is, you don't rise by accident. You rise on purpose. You rise when your actions align with the vision you've made. Been too afraid to speak out loud? So speak it, say it, name the life you want, and then get to work as if you were already living it. Talk less, build. It's more. You don't need another book. You don't need another guru. You need execution. Brutal. Relentless. Daily execution. Because that's how you escape the prison you've built around your potential. You don't break out by thinking. You break out by doing, by bleeding forward. Success, docent. T rewards the talented, it rewards the relentless. And everyday life is testing you. Are you serious? Are you committed? Do you actually want it? Or do you just like the idea of wanting it? The way you answer those questions isn't with your words, it's with your habits. It's with your calendar. It's with your pain tolerance. Because the people who win don't avoid pain. They walk into it. They transmute it. They use it. And eventually, something shifts. You stop waiting for confidence and start building it. You stop needing permission and start creating direction. You stop playing small. Because you finally remember who you are. You are not average. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are becoming, and becoming is brutal. But it's also beautiful. And every moment you push past comfort, you get closer. Closer to the real you. Closer to the version that doesn't flinch when life hits back. So no, you're not too late. You're just in the fire. And the fire doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. Let's talk about faith, not religion, not superstition, but the kind of unshakable internal knowing that refuses to die. Even when there's no evidence things are working. You say you believe in your future, but the moment things get uncomfortable, you fall apart. That's not faith, that's convenience. Faith is built in the silence. When nobody is clapping, when the results are invisible, when your entire body screams to quitting, you still move forward. Because somewhere deep inside, you've decided that what you're building is already real, and now it's just a matter of time before the world catches up. That kind of belief. It isn't flashy, it's not loud, it's forged in late nights. In early mornings, in quiet tears, in invisible battles, faith means betting everything on yourself. Without guarantees, it means walking toward the dream, even when the only thing you're holding is a vision. But that's the difference between people who try, people who become. People who try need proof before action. People who become, they are the proof. They act like it's already theirs. They train like it's already promised. They move like destiny is chasing them, because it is. The problem isn't that you're asking for too much. It's that you're settling for too little effort. Too little pain. Too little patience. You keep trying to bypass the struggle. The struggle is the training ground. It's the test. And most people fail it not because they're weak, but because they don't stay long enough. They want results without process. Growth without pressure. Mastery without repetition. But repetition is the mother of greatness. You show up again and again and again. Until you forget what failure even feels like. Not because you don't fall anymore, but because you stopped assigning meaning to it. You fall, you rise, you repeat. That's faith. It's not magical. It's mechanical. And when your life starts to align with that level of certainty, the universe moves, doors open, people notice, momentum explodes. Not because luck showed up, but because you finally did. Fully, stop dipping your toe into growth. Jump, burn the safety net, delete the backup plan. The dream doesn't need Plan B. It needs an obsessed version of you who's done negotiating. Yes, it will cost you friends. Yes, it will isolate you. Yes, people will mock what they don't understand. Let them. They don't hear what you hear. They don't feel what you feel. They don't carry what you carry. This is your burden, your fire, your calling. And if you dare to stay faithful to that calling, even when it's heavy, even when you're tired, even when your Mach 2 will walk into a life most people only dream of, not because it was easy, but because you didn't quit. And in the end, that's the only difference that matters. Discipline, that word makes most people uncomfortable because it sounds like restriction. It's like punishment, but it's the opposite. Discipline is liberation. Discipline is the path out of chaos. It's the decision to no longer be ruled by impulses, by feelings, by the moment, because the moment lies. The moment wants comfort. The moment wants now. But discipline wants more. Discipline sees the long game. It wakes you up when you want to sleep. It says no when everything in you craves yes. Protects your vision from your weakness. And if you're serious about rising, not pretending, not performing, but truly rising, you're going to have to fall in love with boredom, with repetition, with doing what works, even when it's not exciting. The world is full of talented people who never went anywhere because they couldn't stay consistent. They only showed up when they felt like it. And feelings are liars. The disciplined ones, they build anyway. They bleed anyway. They repeat anyway. And slowly the life they imagined begins to form in reality. Not because of a miracle, but because they built the conditions for it through force of will. They chiseled their mind like a sculptor. Every distraction was cut away. Every excuse was burned. Every weakness was trained. And that's what it was meant. Discipline is a ritual. It's how you say to the world, this is who I am, whether you're watching or not. And if you're waiting to feel ready before you act, readiness is a myth. Discipline is the truth. Wake up tired, move anyway, afraid, speak anyway, uncertain, decide anyway. That's how power is earned. There's no secret, just repetition, just structure, just you against the part of yourself that wants to stay soft. The moment you understand that pain is part of the path and not a sign to stop you, unlock something most people never find. Freedom. Freedom from procrastination, freedom from emotional paralysis, freedom from wasted years. Discipline makes your future non-negotiable. Because you're no longer asking for permission, you're building it, brick by brick. While others wait for inspiration, you're writing chapters with your sweat, and soon it becomes identity. You stop having to convince yourself because it's just who you are now. You're not someone who tries, you're someone who executes, someone who shows up, someone who delivers, someone who no longer explains because their results speak louder than words. And when people ask how you changed, you won't have a speech. You'll have scars, you'll have rituals, you'll have receipts. Discipline is how you prove to your future that you were serious, that you weren't just another voice in the crowd, but a force that refused to bend. So if you're still hesitating, let this be the moment. Not tomorrow now, because the world doesn't wait for thee. It's undisciplined. It rewards the obsessed, the focused, the silent workers who build when no one claps. And suddenly, one day everyone wonders how they did it, but you'll know. You'll remember the early mornings, the silent battles, the countless reps, the tears behind closed doors. You'll remember the war you fought with, yourself and one. That's discipline. And discipline is destiny. Purpose, it's not a word. It's a fire. A fire that refuses to be ignored. A fire that wakes you in the middle of the night with a whisper, there's more. But most people, they don't listen. They drown that whisper in comfort, in convenience. In noise, they settle for distractions and call it happiness. They decorate their cages and call it freedom. But purpose doesn't leave you alone. It doesn't let you rest. Because it knows who you were before the world. It's held you to shrink. It remembers the version of you that dreamed without limits. You can lie to your friends. You can lie to the world. But you can't lie to your purpose. It knows. It waits. And the longer you ignore it, the louder the ache becomes. Not because you're failing, but because you're disconnected from what you were meant to do. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're doing too little of what sets your soul on fire. You were not created for passivity. You were not designed for mediocrity. You were meant to move something, to leave a mark, to matter. And if you're feeling lost, it's not because you have no direction. It's because you've been looking for purpose. It's outside of yourself, but it doesn't live out there. It lives in the tension between who you are and who you know you could become. It lives in your pain, in your story, in the very thing you are. Thought disqualified you. The mistake you regret, the wound you hide, it's your fuel. That's your message. That's the map to your meaning. Stop asking what your purpose is. Start becoming it. Show up in service. Build something that outlives you. Speak truth when it's easier to stay silent. Take risks that scare the life out of you, because that's where life begins. Purpose doesn't promise ease. It promises weight. And most people don't want that. They want pleasure. They want applause. But purpose isn't pretty. It's brutal. It will tear you apart before it makes you whole. But when you find it, everything changes. Your pace changes. Your posture changes. You move like you're being pulled by something greater, because you are suddenly. Criticism doesn't sting. Failure doesn't paralyze. Obstacles don't define you, because you know you were sent for this. You were built for this. You stop chasing. It's validation. And you start living in alignment. And alignment is peace. But you have to go through fire to find it. You have to lose the fake version of yourself first. The version they told you to become. The version that made others comfortable. The version that fit in. Burn that version down. And rise. Your purpose doesn't come with applause. It comes with silence, with rejection, with long seasons of nothing. And then break through. But not for the faint. Not for it's passive. For the ones who dare. For the ones who carry. For the ones who say, "This is mine to do," and never look back. Purpose won't chase you. You have to meet it in the wilderness. You have to follow the pull, even when the path vanishes. And if you do, you'll become the rarest kind of human, not just successful, but fulfilled. Because success without purpose is still empty. But purpose, even with nothing else, that's a life worth dying for. If you want to change your life, you first have to change what you see when your eyes are closed. Because before any result appears in the physical, it is forged in the invisible, in your imagination. In your inner world, you've been taught to react to reality. To respond to what is, but that's not power. That's survival. Power begins when you stop accepting reality as final and start designing it from within. You want to know why your life hasn't changed? Because you've been living by memory, not by vision. Every day you replay the same fears, the same beliefs, same limitations, and wonder why the external world never shifts. But your outer world is a reflection of your inner movie. If the film doesn't change, the result never will. Visualization isn't wishful thinking. It's mental conditioning. It's rehearsal for a reality, not yet seen, but already chosen. Olympians use it. Fighters use it. Builders, leaders, inventors. Because the mind doesn't know the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is real. So when you see it, truly see it, you begin to move in alignment with it. You begin to speak like it's already true. You begin to attract situations, people, and ideas that match it. But it has to be clear. It has to be emotional. It has to be yours, not a borrowed. Dream not society's version of success, not what they told you to want. Your real vision, the one that scares you. The one that makes your heart beat faster when you think about it. That's the one. Close your eyes and see it. Where are you? Who are you with? How does it feel? What do you hear? What do you smell? Get into the moment as if it were already real. Because the more you feel it, the faster you move toward it. But here's the catch. You can't just visualize and wait. You visualize and act. That's the missing piece for most people. They imagine without aligning their habits, you don't become a warrior by dreaming of battle. You become one by training for it, dash relentlessly, daily, with intensity. So use your imagination not as an escape, but as a blueprint, a command center, a place where the impossible becomes inevitable. You wake up, visualize, and then you execute with urgency, with precision, with hunger, and when doubt shows up, because it will, you go back to the vision. When pain comes, because it will. You go back to the vision when the world tells you it's too late. You go back to the vision because that vision becomes your compass. Your clarity, your oxygen, it keeps you from drifting. It keeps you from quitting. It keeps you anchored in the future. You've already chosen even when the present makes no sense. This is how leaders are made. They don't follow what is. They create what will be. They walk through fire with their eyes fixed on the picture in their soul. And no matter how long it takes, they don't stop until the outside matches the inside. So ask yourself, what do I see when no one's watching? What future am I rehearsing? Every day, because whatever it is, that's the life you're building. Whether you know it or not, the question isn't, will your vision shape your life? The question is, are you choosing it or just inheriting it? Take control, choose it, build it, see it first, then walk it out. You think strength is loud, you think it's the roar, the scream, the defiance. But real strength, it's silent, it's invisible. It's the decision to keep going when your world is falling apart inside. Resilience isn't about pretending nothing hurts. It's about being hurt-hand, moving forward anyway. It's about taking the punch and getting back up without applause. Because there are going to be days when you don't feel like anything is working. There will be days when every voice in your mind tells you to give up, to turn back, to take the easy way out. And those days, that's where champions are made. Not in the spotlight, not in the moments of praise, but in the private hell. Doubt and fatigue. Resilience is forged in silence in the hours no one sees. In the moments you could quit, choose not to. Everyone wants the reward, but few are willing to survive the fire. And that's what this is. A fire. Not to destroy you, but to burn away. What you're not to remove the weak parts, the excuses, the lies. The world is not going to stop and wait for your emotions to align. It will test you. Anyway, life doesn't ask if you're ready. It shows up with heartbreak, with failure, with betrayal, with rejection. And in that moment, you'll either break or build. Resilience means you feel the pain, but you don't become it. You feel the loss, but you don't let it define your identity. You feel the fear, but you don't let it guide your next step. Most people collapse under the weight of motion, not because they're weak, but because they were never taught to carry it. Let me teach you. You're not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. You can observe pain, still choose discipline. You can feel broken, still choose action. Resilience is the ability to feel everything, still move with purpose. Don't avoid the pain, use it. Let it sharpen you. Let it harden your resolve. Let it become the reason you rise, because here's what nobody tells you. The most powerful version of you will only be born in the moments you feel the weakest. When your heart is heavy, when your mind is loud, when everything says stop, but your spirit whispers go. And that whisper? That's the real you, the one that refuses to die, the one that's carried you through every breakdown, every betrayal, every moment you thought would be the end, but wasn't. You're still here, which means you're not done. Which means you haven't seen your final form yet. Resilience is not a gift, it's a practice. And every time you rise, you build it. Every time you hold the line, you reinforce it. You become the kind of person who doesn't just survive storms, you walk through them and come out carrying lightning. And when they ask how you made it, you won't need to explain. Your life will speak for itself. Your scars will tell the story, not of pain, but of power. Because resilience isn't about bouncing back. It's about rising better, stronger, clearer. Unshakable, so feel the weight, carry it, and then climb anyway. You've been programmed. Not by a machine, by repetition, by trauma, by every voice that told you who you are, who you're not. Somewhere along the way, you believed them. The teachers, the bullies, the critics, the failures. You took their words and carved them into your identity, and now you wear them like armor, heavy, tight, suffocating. I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. I always mess it up. I don't deserve more. These are not facts. They are beliefs, and beliefs can be broken, rewritten, burned, because the version of you that you've been living is just a reflection of old data, a pattern, a loop. And if you want to become something greater, you have to interrupt the loop. You have to question every truth that limits you. Who said you're not creative? Who said you're not smart enough, not strong enough, not worthy? Who gave you that label, and why did you accept it? You're not broken. You're just running a script that was never yours to begin with. And the beautiful part, you can rewrite it right now. Not in some distant future. Not after you fix everything now. You rewrite it through repetition, through new evidence, through new action. Every time you choose courage instead of fear, you're writing a new line. Every time you speak with power instead of shrinking, you're rewiring the story. Every time you show up when everything says stop, you're destroying the old narrative. Change doesn't happen because you think differently. It happens because you act differently long enough that the brain has no choice but to adapt. Neurons fire, new pathways form, and suddenly what felt impossible becomes natural. But here's the warning. The old version will fight back. It doesn't die quietly. It will whisper. It will beg. It will remind you of the failures, the embarrassments, the shame. Let it speak, then rise anyway. Because transformation isn't about erasing the past. It's about using it. You don't run from your story. You reclaim it. You take every scar, every failure, every land, you forge identity from it. Not identity rooted in what happened, but in who you decided to become despite it. That's power. That's freedom. That's real. Confidence, not the kind that needs to be loud. The kind that breathes from within. The kind that walks into a room and doesn't need to prove anything, because it already knows. So from this moment forward, you stop repeating the old story. You stop reinforcing the cage. You stop making agreements with limitation. Instead, you choose new language. Not affirmations, declarations. I am capable. I am focused. I am becoming unstoppable. Not one day dash today. Every time you repeat that truth, you give your mind a new blueprint. And if you repeat it long enough, you become it. Fully, but it starts with a choice. Not to fake confidence, but to train identity, to discipline belief, to construct the self from the inside out. You are not the sum of your past. You are the architect of your future. And if that future looks nothing like your current reality, good. That means you're building something real. That means you're finally outgrowing your old skin. And when that happens, don't run, don't shrink, don't apologize. Grow, own it, step fully into the life that was waiting for the real you to finally show up. Fear is not the enemy. It's the invitation. It shows you where your edge is. It shows you where your freedom lives. It shows you what matters, because you don't fear what doesn't matter. You fear what threatens the lie you've been living. You fear the version of you that's too big for your current life. You've been taught to run from fear, to avoid it, to numb it, to label it as danger. But fear is often disguised direction. It's not a signal to stop. It's a signal to step forward. You fear public speaking, speak louder. You fear rejection, put yourself out there more. You fear failure, fail bigger, fail faster, fail forward. Because what you're actually afraid of is not the thing itself, but who you'll have to come in order to face it. And that's the point. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of it. Radical action, immediate action. You don't wait to feel brave. You act while your hands shake. You speak while your voice cracks. You leap while your mind screams. That's how courage is built. That's how the chains start to break. That's how the real you begins to rise. The truth is, you've been trained by fear, conditioned by it, held hostage by it. Fear has dictated your decisions, your relationships, your voice, your dreams. And it ends now. You want to know what courage really looks like? It's not the roar. It's the whisper that says, "I'll try again tomorrow." It's the decision to stand back up without anyone watching. It's looking in the mirror and saying, "I will not let fear build my life." Or more than the panic, more than the doubt, more than the voice that says, "What if I'm not ready? What if I fail? What if they laugh?" Ask a better question. What if I win? What if I fly? What if I become exactly who I was born to be? You've suffered enough under the illusion of safety. You've hidden long enough behind hesitation. There's no growth in comfort. There's no power in silence. Everything you want is on the other side of fear, but only the brave find out what that looks like, because only the brave go far enough to discover it. Do you want to stay where it's warm, familiar, controlled? Or do you want to live? Do you want to exist? Or do you want to ignite? The choice isn't easy, but it is simple. Jump before you're ready, because you'll never be ready. Jump and build the wings on the way down. Because fear won't kill, you stagnation will. And in the end, you'll realize it was never about becoming fearless. It was about refusing to be ruled by the fear. So here's your moment. The fear will still be there, but now. And courage wins every single time. You've heard enough, you've thought enough, you've waited long enough. Now comes the question that will define everything. What are you going to do? Not what will you plan, not what will you post, not what will you talk about, but what will you do now, today? Because this entire time, you weren't just listening to a video, you were staring at a mirror. And deep down, you knew it. You felt it, that ache in your chest that whispers, "There's more in me." That pulse that says, "This life I've been living, it's not the end." You were never meant to settle, to shrink, to live quietly in the shadow of your potential. You were made for more clarity, more strength, more fire. And that more doesn't arrive with time, it arrives with decision. A line drawn in the sand that says, from this moment forward, I'm all in. All in on discipline, all in on growth, all in on building a life that demands my highest self. Every single day. You don't need anyone. It's permission. You don't need to wait for a sign. You are the sign. This moment is the turning point. Right now, right here, not tomorrow, not after things calm down. No. Because the world doesn't need another voice full of fear. It needs an example of what's possible, and that example is you. You become it not by shouting, but by living. Loudly, bravely, deliberately. So here's how this ends. With you. Waking up tomorrow not looking for motivation, showing up with conviction. Training your mind like a warrior. Moving like the future depends on it, because it does. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be doubted. You'll be pushed, but you'll be ready. Because you've already seen what life looks like when you play small. Now it's time to see what happens when you stop holding back. Build the habits. Speak the truth. Honor the fire. Become the force. This isn't hype. This is homecoming. The return to who you've always been. Before the fear. Before the noise. Before the mask. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more asking for less than everything. From this day forward, it's war. But it's not a war against the world. It's a war against the version of youth that settled. You don't need more time. You need more truth. And here it is. You're not chasing greatness. You're remembering it. So rise and don't stop. Not until the life you see in your mind becomes the life you're standing in. And when that happens, you'll look back. Not with regret, but with gratitude. Because the pain was worth it. Because the process worked. Because you finally showed up.